The Battle of Krios 4 was a silent disaster for the Galactic Union. The planet was a nightmare of atmospheric anomalies. The wind didn't just blow, it pulsed in unpredictable high-frequency intervals. The gravity shifted by 3% every hour due to the influence of the 3 passing moons. For the Kaltor, a species that had perfected automated warfare, Krios 4 was a graveyard. The Kaltor military relied entirely on smart munitions. Their grenades had microthrusters and AI processors that calculated wind resistance and gravitational pull to ensure a perfect hit. But on Krios 4, the electronic warfare was so thick that the smart chips were fried before the pins were even pulled. Their targeting computers, faced with the erratic physics of the planet, simply gave up. The Kaltor were pinned down in their trenches, unable to suppress the rebel bunkers across the field because their tech couldn't solve the equation of a simple arc. High Commander Vex looked at his displays in frustration. "We are within 60 meters of the enemy," he signaled. "But every grenade we launch is taken by the wind or buried in the mud. The computers say a hit is mathematically impossible under these conditions. We are at a stalemate." Then, a human squad from the 101st Colonial Infantry arrived to reinforce the flank. They didn't bring advanced targeting rigs. They didn't bring smart launchers. They brought crates of dumbfire grenades, heavy, iron-cased balls of high explosives with simple mechanical timers. Commander Vex watched in disbelief as a young human, Private Fastball Miller, stepped up to the edge of the trench. The human wasn't looking at a screen. He wasn't adjusting a dial. He was simply picking up a grenade and weighing it in his palm. He tossed it up a few inches and caught it, his eyes fixed on the narrow slit of a Kaltor bunker 200 feet away. "What is he doing?" Vex asked. "The wind is gusting at 40 knots. The target is elevated. Without a guidance system, he is just throwing away resources." Miller didn't answer. He didn't need to. He was engaging a biological computer that had been in development for 3 million years. The human ability to throw an object with high speed and pinpoint accuracy is a biological miracle. No other species in the galaxy can do it. It requires a specific, violent coordination of the entire body. It starts in the feet, travels through the legs, rotates the waist, and then, the secret weapon, snaps through the shoulder. The human shoulder is a literal catapult, a system of tendons and muscles that can store and release elastic energy in a way that defies standard alien physiology. Miller took a deep breath. He didn't think about the wind speed. He didn't calculate the gravity. He felt it. Every nerve ending in his body was feeding data to his cerebellum. He shifted his weight to his back foot. He coiled his torso like a steel spring. His eyes never left the bunker. He was entering the predator's trance, where the distance between his hand and the target became a single, solid line in his mind. He moved. It was a blur of motion that the Kaltor sensors struggled to track. He stepped forward with a thunderous stride, his arms snapping through the arc with a velocity that broke the sound barrier at his fingertips. The grenade didn't just fly, it was launched like a railgun slug. The Kaltor watched the iron ball. It didn't have thrusters. It didn't have a guidance chip. It flew through the air, buffeted by a sudden 60-knot gust of wind. The Kaltor computers predicted a miss by 20 meters. But Miller hadn't thrown it straight. He had put a specific high-velocity spin on the grenade. He had cut the air, using the Magnus effect to make the projectile curve into the wind. The grenade hit the top of a rock, bounced once at a perfect angle, and sailed directly into the vision slit of the enemy bunker. Boom. The bunker erupted in a ball of fire. The Kaltor sensors went silent. Vex stood frozen. "Luck," he signaled. "A statistical anomaly. 1 in a million." Miller didn't even look at the explosion. He reached into the crate, grabbed another grenade and looked at the second bunker. He adjusted his stance by a fraction of an inch, feeling the gravity shift. He wound up again. This time he didn't even use a full stride. He flicked his wrist with the power of a piston. The second grenade cleared the trench, flew in a high, graceful arc, and landed perfectly in a mortar pit 300 feet away. The Kaltor commander realized the horrifying truth. The humans weren't using tools to solve the problem of Krios 4. They were the tools. Their brains were performing billions of spatial calculations per second, adjusting for air density, humidity, and muscle fatigue in real time. They had turned their own skeletal structures into biological artillery. For the next hour, the Kaltor watched a performance of ballistic dominance that changed their understanding of primitive combat forever. Miller and his squad didn't just throw grenades. They threw rocks. They threw knives. They threw empty canisters. Anything with mass became a lethal projectile in their hands. They used the curve. They used the drop. They hit targets behind cover by bouncing stones off canyon walls. They took out low-flying drones by leading their shots with the intuition of a hawk. While the Kaltor were helpless without their computers, the humans were thriving in the chaos. This is the ballistic primate. We are the only creatures that can stand on two legs and kill you from a distance with a piece of the ground. Our ancestors didn't have claws or teeth, they had rocks. And they spent 1,000,000 years learning exactly how hard to throw them to make the mammoth stop moving. When the battle ended, the human squad was sitting in the mud, sharing a pack of cigarettes. Miller was rubbing his shoulder, a slight grimace on his face. Vex walked up to him, his sensors still trying to process the data from the last hour. "You have no guidance systems," Vex signaled. "Your equipment is iron and gunpowder. How did you achieve a 98% hit rate in a chaotic environment?" Miller blew a cloud of smoke into the pulsing wind and looked at his hand. He balled it into a fist and then relaxed it. "Practice," Miller said. "My dad taught me to play catch when I was 4. You spend 20 years throwing a ball at a glove, you don't need a computer to tell you where the target is. You just know." The Kaltor hegemony issued a new directive following the Krios 4 campaign. It was short and terrified. Advisory: do not engage humans in degraded tech environments. If their electronics fail, they do not become weaker. They revert to their primary evolutionary state. A human with a pocket full of stones is more accurate than a Kaltor smart missile. They are the galaxy's only natural-born artillery. To them, the universe is not a series of equations. It is a series of targets. And they never miss. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Keep your eye on the ball. If you enjoyed this victory of human ballistics over alien technology, hit that like button. Comment below. What is the furthest you have ever thrown something, and did you hit what you were aiming at? Subscribe for the next front of the Apex Factor. The sweat shield. The bunker is quiet. The field is ours.